Next item here is, I guess, John, you've taken a look at the some recent Oracle patches. Can you tell us?
Yeah, this is something Jim normally does too, but he's not here today. So Oracle, they release their patches on a quarterly cycle. Some other companies do it on a monthly. So when Oracle releases a patch bundle, it typically has a lot of patches in it. This one is no exception. We have a chart here that shows the various product suites that they have, and in each of these product suites there might be several products. You could have 10 products in some of them, especially the Fusion middleware, which includes like BEA or the WebLogic server and some of these other types of software are all in there. In any event, this patch comes out today, January 20th, if you're watching the show. So you should take a special note that there are a significant number of patches. You want to check to make sure you patch a bunch of these if it applies to you. There's total 167 fixes, 93 of which are remotely exploitable over the network without any authentication. So that's kind of important, especially for any, there's several in here that are potentially exploitable that have a lot of network footprint. I'm not sure which, they didn't get into details because it's a pre-release bulletin, so I don't know if WebLogic is in that category or their HTTP server products, but certainly if there is exploitation against that, it's remotely. I don't know that they are yet because they haven't said which ones are and which ones aren't.
Right.
But those ones want to be really careful about. Almost every software package they have has some sort of network component that if you expose it to the internet would be vulnerable, obviously, here. So the big ones to point out that have the highest CVSS score of 10, Java is in there, not a big surprise. And we don't have details of exactly what the exploit vector is, other than it's highly exploitable. And then there's 3 others that they listed, which I'm kind of curious to see what this is about, because this is the M10.1, M10.4, M10.4S server products of theirs. If you're familiar with the Sun product line that Oracle acquired, they have the M10 platform, which is a Spark platform. So I'm not sure if it's in their hardware, maybe something that's firmware based versus software, the Unix operating system that rides on top of that, or what part of it is actually exploitable here. But those would be important ones to take a look at. A lot of people are probably using those platforms for especially in business operations. You might have M10s as part of your environment, so you'd want to take a look at that. And then one other one that they make mention of that's been getting some press here is this Oracle eBusiness Suite dual table vulnerability that was just announced. One of the researcher kind of discovered this. The basic gist of this is he discovered when doing an audit of a company, that their Oracle server, actually it's the eBusiness Suite, which basically runs some Oracle server underneath of it. Their dual table, and the dual table is kind of, it's kind of like a dummy table in Oracle server it's just part of the distribution. It basically had the public role was granted the index privilege on the dual table. So normally you can't write or create new rows in there, but you could create an index on it. And if you're able to create a index that is a function-based index, which they have, you can kind of write a little script as part of your index. If you could do something that does that, it will actually execute under the privileges of sys, which is basically root privileges, so to speak, from an Oracle perspective, on that table, and be able to do things in other tables, like add yourself as an administrator to the database. So this is kind of a big vulnerability. Apparently when Oracle went back, he reported this to them, they went back and looked at it, they were kind of confused as to why this code was in there and why this vulnerability exists. So there's a little conspiracy theories forming around this. I don't have any input into that as to whether this was an intended backdoor, because it basically gives you some backdoor functionality. If you can get onto the Oracle server, if it's exposed in a way that you could get access to it as either a user, even basic user level, you'd be able to elevate your privileges really easily on here. So another important one that's patched in this recent patch bundle that came out. So that's an important one to take a look at if that applies to you.
It's definitely an interesting find.
An interesting what?
Interesting find.
Yeah.
Do you know if that? It seems like you can specify a function within there and it'll execute it. Does it have? Does Oracle have something like the XP command shell function that you have in on Windows and in the why can't I think of the name? MS SQL databases, where you can actually execute something.
I don't know. That's a good question, because I'm not really familiar with I haven't used Oracle in probably 10 years, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I've never tried to do that on there. I've only used it as,
As a legitimate user.
yeah, the legitimate usage of. I haven't ever tried to shell out to anything with it, so I'm not quite sure.
Normally that capability does exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the.
Okay. So obviously he was able to determine that this is exploitable and that you could easily elevate your privileges with I'm sure there's some proof of concept code to leverage this to elevate your privileges and get access to the entire database. So that would be of concern, especially if your database is exposed to the internet in any way, which I would recommend against. Have something like a web server that's what is talking, and then have that talk to the database out of band where you can't talk to it directly.
Yeah, no, we don't have it in the report today, but typically around the time these patch cycles are announced, we tend to see like a resurgence of scanning activity looking for Oracle database access interfaces and things. And of course, that scanning activity is going all the time. It's just a matter of we tend to see a surge around the patch cycle. So
right. So
clearly
these
there
were
are those
just
that are
announced. So
looking for
maybe
this.
next week we might see more. I don't know. We might see more an uptick in scanning on various ports and protocols associated with these vulnerabilities. But there's a lot to go look for.
Absolutely.
This is a pretty big patch bundle, so it seems that there's pretty large threat surface. I'm not sure exactly what ports. There's going to be a lot of them that are potentially scannable to see if you can find exploitable devices.
Okay.